Hello, Nigeria, and hello, Nigerians. It's that time again of true Nigerians, heroes of our time, when we bring to you Nigerians that are role models, Nigerians that are worth emulating, Nigerians that have done us well in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Today, my guest on the program is heavy, very heavy, because she is the engine room of the civil service. She's the engine room, and that means she's the engine room of the entire Nigeria, the workforce of Nigeria. And she has been doing this for a long time, from state level to federal level. We're excited because a lot of questions have been asked. Everybody's excited that she's coming on True Nigerians, and we have your questions from social media too. All those questions will be answered today. My guest on the program on True Nigerians, Heroes of Our Time, for the first time ever, I have Mrs. DIDI Esther Walson-Jack, OONMNI. She is the head of the Civil Service of the Federation of Nigeria. Now you see how heavy. Thank you very much, ma. Okay, we have a traditional question because the program is True Nigerians, Heroes of Our Time. Our traditional questions will be, how would you define a true Nigerian?
So let me start with the 1999 Constitution. So a true Nigerian would be a citizen of Nigeria as defined by the 1999 Constitution as amended. That Constitution tells us who is a Nigerian. I won't go into that, but I really think that a true Nigerian would also uphold the values that are enshrined in that Constitution. So a true Nigerian would be patriotic, would be one who has integrity, who is resilient, and who is committed to national unity.
That unity is key, especially given what is going on now. Okay, ma. The civil service of Nigeria. We've heard many things about the civil service of Nigeria. And that's why we have been trying to get you on this program. There's no Nigeria without the civil service.
Yeah.
Just educate us a bit. What are the goals, the activities, and the purpose? What is the civil service?
Okay, let me start by saying, you described me earlier on as the engine room.
Yes.
So it's not me, it's the civil service that is the engine room of government.
You are ahead.
So the civil service is an entity that, has, I would say, perpetual succession, if you like, because it's always there. And so the civil service, as we know it today, has always been there. It is stable. It is one that does not go away. Governments change, but the civil service remains. So to put it succinctly, the vision of the civil service we have today, the Federal Civil Service, is to build a world-class organization that delivers on national development. So without the civil service, there will be no national development. So what have we been up to? So the civil service has been there, since pre-colonial times. But over the years, we have come up with a strategy which we believe guides our activities and programs, of course, with the end result of delivering national development. So, since I resumed office in August of 2024, I have been driving what we call the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan. And so that is where we get all our programs from. That plan has 6 pillars of reform, and then it has enablers. And I'll tell you, the pillars of reform rely on the enablers to be effective, to be implemented, and to deliver results.
Enablers, what do you mean?
Yes, for instance, Some of the enablers are leadership. So we need to focus on civil service leadership, build up the capability of the leadership. Others are communication. We need to communicate first with our civil servants, and then, of course, with the citizens of Nigeria, who are the ones we serve.
That's where there's always a gap.
Okay.
Between the citizens and the government. And civil service being the government. This is not part of my question, but as you are talking, I'm just getting a lot of things.
Fine.
That gap, how can we bridge it? Because most times, a government can be doing something that will benefit the citizens, maybe in a year or two.
Yes.
But the citizens are usually
Not aware
and not patient.
enough.
But I know that if you educate them
Yes.
on what you are doing and how you are going to, the end result,
Yes.
they may be patient. That's the kind of gap I'm talking about.
Okay, so yes, we realize that. So we are taking deliberate steps to close the gap. And some of the things we have done, I dare say, are yielding results. And I guess that's why I'm on this interview today. Yes. So how are we closing the gap? We find that we need to engage with the citizens whom we are serving. Because if the citizens don't know what we are doing and they cannot make an input to how we deliver service to them, then there's a problem. Yeah. So we have come up with several programs to engage with the citizens. So we have the citizens and stakeholders engagement, which we carry out quarterly. For this engagement, we conduct it as a hybrid because we know we can't have a space big enough to invite all the citizens. And the citizens of Nigeria are all over the country. So we have this quarterly engagement, citizens and stakeholders engagement, where we engage with the citizens and the stakeholders. So I am the arrowhead of that engagement. So I'm there with my permanent secretaries and other directors. And then the citizens are told what we have done, what we are doing, and then they're allowed to interact by asking questions. So that program has been going on. I think we had the last one about 3 weeks ago, and and so what we do is within the program, we carry out polls.
Okay.
So it's not just, individual feedback. It's feedback from the people on the program. So we carry out polls, we ask questions, and they answer. And we've been getting a lot of good feedback. Wow. Feedback that enables us to go back to the drawing table and to begin to fix things that need fixing. So that is one. But more than that, we've engendered interactions with organizations, with citizens, through our audience, courtesy call, if you like. So we've had so many organizations come to interact with us, and it's deliberate. We want the citizens to know what we are doing, and we want to hear from them. We want them to support us, we want them to encourage us, and we want to serve them better. And I'll tell you, the last week I was in Lagos. That particular engagement was first of its kind. Wow. So we engage with the private sector. Wow. In Lagos. Lagos is our commercial capital. Yeah, so we said, okay, look, we've been talking from Abuja. Let's move to Lagos and have a one-on-one. This was not a hybrid. This was one-on-one. And we had a good interaction. There were people from all the sectors. And I think that was an eye-opener to a lot of the private sector people. And Zaki, you know what happened? Since then, we've had a lot of support pouring in. They were like, wow, you mean the civil service is working so hard to serve us? We need to support the civil service.
Okay. You got to this current position. I don't want to. I'm just very impressed with your pedigree, with what you have achieved so far. I'm very, very happy that we have people like you, and you got here by merit. But nowadays, you know that most of the time you get jobs by connection or by sentiment. Like I hear, if you want to get a job in central bank, except you get a note from a senator, you know, things like that. And, you know, being the engine room of the civil service, what are you doing to make sure that people get jobs by merit, not by connection or sentiment?
Okay, you know, Zaki, recruitment into the Federal Civil Service is actually the responsibility of the Federal Civil Service Commission. But there are levels that are within the service, and those are the levels, the lower levels, that the Civil Service Commission has delegated to us. And then there are appointments as well. So what we are doing in the civil service is to lay a foundation to be a good example.
Can I ask a question before you proceed? What kind of synergy do you now have between the Civil Service of the Federation and the Civil Service Commission? Okay. Shouldn't you still have a say?
Okay, so, you know, by virtue of the Constitution, the Civil Service Commission is created as an independent body. And so it does not take directives from any other organ of government. And so, but that is not to say we do not have synergy. My office has a very good synergy with the Federal Civil Service Commission. And I think we are thinking on the same path. So, but I need to work within my sphere of influence. And so what we are doing is to try to let people know that in the Nigerian civil service, we are operating a meritocratic system. And so everything we do is based on merit. And I tell you, it's not only about recruitment. So for instance, our rewards and recognition policy, before you can get a reward, you must merit it. That is just an example, but I'll take you to a higher level of an example.
But that's in your regime, ma. Maybe in other regimes.
We are institutionalizing these systems. It's not about an individual, it's about a system, which we are institutionalizing. So what we've done is to lay the ground rules, to set up the guidelines, get the approvals we need to operate, and so that those structures we are building will stand the test of time. So I'll tell you about, for instance, the permanent secretary examination. That system is based on merit. And what we've done is to safeguard the process. How are we safeguarding the process? The process is now spelled out, even before I assumed office, in the public service rules. So everybody knows what the process is. You know what the criteria is. And then the system is such that we ourselves have insulated ourselves from discretion. So it's a system that can run on its own. and no one person can tamper with the system. So for instance, it's a 3-level process. And then there's an examination committee. The examination committee, you will be surprised to know, is made up of not only serving permanent secretaries, but also retired permanent secretaries. And then it is made up of members of the private sector, members of non-governmental organizations, and then we have the anti-corruption agencies as part of the examination committee to observe the process. We also have other people, and you know the funny thing, so in that process, one team is marking the questions and another team is auditing what has been marked. And a team of 2 marks 1 question of a candidate, not more than 1 question. So at the end of the day, nobody can do anything. Because even when you mark, the team of auditors will check, no names are on the papers, they will check that the candidate deserves every mark, even up to half a mark. And if they see that what has been marked has not strictly followed the marking scheme, that question paper will be returned to be remarked for the candidate to have the right score. So this is just a little example. But in all our programs, we are instilling meritocracy.
What we hear that even when they appoint a political head in an organization, his hands are tied because the civil servants who are used to a certain pattern that maybe involves corruption will not allow.
No, you see, we need to now understand the issue of appointing authority and processes. So first of all, my office, we do not appoint people to any position.
No, I know.
So what we do is that for the positions that are under our purview, we follow a process that is meritocratic. And like I said earlier, we want to set a good example.
Maybe things have changed now in your regime.
No, not so much, but I'll let you know that what has changed in my regime is that we are more in your face. So now we tell you what we are doing. So if you've been following us, hardly a week passes, we don't have a press release. We want you to know what we are doing.
So everybody is informed.
We are always in social media. We want to let you know. So some of these things have been done before now, only they were not known. They were not made public. So now we are saying, we want you to know because it is you we are serving so that you can add value and help us to deliver better service.
And anyone can go on your page and suggest something.
Oh, yes. People do go on our page. Sometimes we have to enlighten them because at times it is that they don't understand the processes.
That's why they react in that
Yeah,
way.
so they're reacting, but it's not what they think. There is a process, and they don't understand the process. So we try as much as possible to enlighten people, to let them know what the processes are, what we are doing. If you watch, now whenever we have that permanent secretary's exam, we release a statement that tells you the process of the exam. So don't bother. It's not about you know this person or you don't know that person. The process will be followed. The process will be followed. So it's no longer a secret. It's out there in the open. But I want to talk about, you know, you were trying to talk about corruption.
Yes.
Yes. So you see, one of the reform pillars that we pursued vigorously, and by the grace of God, we achieved, is the digitalization reform. What did we achieve? We're able to digitize all our files, and then we digitalized our processes and our workflows.
That's a lot of work.
Yes. But we achieved it last year, December of last year. And I can tell you, even in this very short time, we have reduced corruption, because now there is no more person to person. It has reduced to a bare minimum person to person contact.
Wow.
And you know the most important, you can actually track your correspondence on our enterprise content management system, because we deployed a paperless civil service portal.
Okay, that's what you call it, enterprise
content management system. We achieved that all the ministries and extra-ministerial departments, 38 of them, have deployed an enterprise content management system. So now correspondence from the citizens to government through the ministries is digital. And then you can track your mail. So you know how long it has been sitting.
There must be some kind of reorientation or like educating the civil
servants.
Yes.
Oh yes, we've been on that.
Yeah, because
yes.
I know most of them may not be digitally inclined.
No, we've been on that. We have continuous training. We have continuous training going on. We have 4 digital literacy programs online, which the civil servants are to go online and take those courses. And they've been doing so. I think at the last count, we had trained over 20,000.
Wow.
And it's ongoing. And then we're also working with our partners to train 500 civil servants from across the ministries and extra-ministerial departments who would be in each office, each ministry, supporting the civil servants. But everybody has been trained on the enterprise content management system. For now, we do not have enough licenses for all the staff. We're taking it in bits. So, but in every ministry, you have a good core of civil servants who have a platform on the enterprise content management system. And it is in use.
That's a lot.
So if you wanted to write to me, we wouldn't take your hard copy letter.
Yeah, that was exactly what happened when I came with my letter here.
See.
They made me feel old school. They said, no, send an email. This is how you understand. So I was like, wow, everything has changed.
Has changed, yes.
Okay, my next question is not from me. It's from a guy called David Angwe. I'll have to read it. Salary equity across the service. There has been a long concern about salary disparities in the federal civil service, despite repeated call for harmonization.
That issue of salaries harmonization is not for my office alone.
Okay.
It's an interministerial committee, which was actually in place before I even assumed the role. So, I'm not, it's not under my purview to speak about it. But what I know we have been doing, because it's not all about salaries, it is more about the welfare of the civil servant. So we've been approaching it in different ways. And, okay, let me start with the minimum wage, which Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR magnanimously approved a minimum wage. That was just before I came in. But I had the privilege to chair the meeting on the consequential adjustments to the new minimum wage. And I dare say that that meeting between management and labor ended well. It ended well in the sense that at the end of that meeting, there was a considerable shift in the salaries. So we had the minimum wage, but consequentially, other people had an increase as a result of the new minimum wage. So that was one plus. Now we started looking at what are the other issues that would cushion the effects of a minimum wage. And so we are looking at so many things. The government approved a wage award, which, yes, is still being paid, but it has commenced, and I think we're at the tail end of paying that wage award. Then we looked at health of the civil servant. Since we came, we've been interacting with the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, and I can tell you that the services they render are better.
This country needs unity. We need peace.
I'm all for renegotiating the terms of our coexistence. We have to renegotiate it.
The youth have been misguided, unfortunately. You know?
I like my country. I like the land and people.
Hey, look, I have 40% shares in this company. But if I had known that you...
Judges are either corrupted or they are afraid of giving judgment.
There's no stopping us.
No stopping.
I think you must be guided by certain principles.
Give us a better Nigeria! Give us a better...
Youth are the vehicles of change. The youth are the answer.
Look beyond the tired faces. Look beyond the scattered races. See the heart of a true Nigerian. Hear the people saying, oh shit. See the children singing Sandu. That's the heart of a true Nigerian.